The mentality of the fighters themselves. When a legend like Mike Tyson speaks, people listen, and his message to someone like Anthony Joshua cuts straight past the hype. His mindset has always been simple but ruthless. You only truly lose when you quit. Step away too long, grow comfortable on the sidelines, and your edge starts to fade. In his view, if Joshua wants to remain among the best, he has to live in the grind, stay in the gym, keep fighting, and keep testing himself under pressure. That is why this version of AJ is back deep in camp, adding old-school Tyson-inspired training like heavy neck work and brutal conditioning, sharpening his body into something that can withstand and deliver damage at the highest level. It is not a man coasting. It is a man still trying to perfect his craft while the world argues about his choices. Inside that camp, the atmosphere is a blend of seriousness and dark humor. Physios watch nervously as Joshua pushes his body to the edge with punishing movements, half joking about injuries while knowing that this is the cost of chasing greatness. Every roll, every lift, every explosive drill is about making sure that when he steps into the ring again, whether it is against a seasoned heavyweight or a disruptive outsider like Jake Paul, he is not just bigger. He is sharper, faster, and more dangerous. Joshua is not preparing like this is a soft exhibition. His training tells a different story. He is treating it like a real fight because for him, every time the bell rings, his pride, his reputation, and his story are on the line. On the outside, Eddie Hearn continues to be one of the clearest voices about what this matchup actually means. He has repeated again and again that people are wrong if they think Joshua simply strolls into the ring without taking it seriously. He points toward the demolition of Francis Ngannou as proof. Ngannou had just gone toe-to-toe with Tyson Fury in a razor-thin contest and showed the world he was not just a mixed martial artist dabbling in boxing but a real threat. Then Joshua stepped in and obliterated him in brutal fashion. That did not happen by accident. It came from preparation, discipline, and a champion's instinct. When Hearn talks about Joshua facing Jake Paul, he makes it clear, if this fight happens under real rules, with real gloves, Joshua will be stepping in as a fully prepared heavyweight predator, not a bored celebrity. Not everyone is comfortable with that reality. Nigel Benn, a warrior from a different era, looks at the whole situation and feels a deep frustration. From his perspective, the sport has been turned upside down. Fighters who have spent their lives grinding in small venues and dangerous gyms are still struggling to earn what they deserve, while influencers and digital stars walk in and leapfrog them on the pay scale. Ben does not deny that people can pay to watch whatever they want, but he cannot pretend that it sits right with him. For him, a former world champion like Joshua should be facing top 5 contenders, not someone who built audience first and boxing resume second. It is not jealousy. It is about fairness, respect, and the sense that the sports ladder is being bypassed for those with enough followers. Then there is the cold logic of money, laid out bluntly by analysts like Ade Oladipo. He strips away the emotion and asks a simple question. If you are Anthony Joshua, and someone offers you a purse approaching $100 million to fight a man of Jake Paul's limited experience, how do you justify saying no? In terms of risk versus reward, it is almost absurdly lopsided. Joshua is bigger, stronger, more skilled, and more experienced. He has Olympic gold, unified titles, and a history of knocking out gigantic men. Paul, by comparison, is still closer to a novice when measured on the traditional scale. Oladipo argues that for Joshua, this is the sort of financial opportunity that fighters dream of and rarely see twice. From that angle, the decision becomes less about purity and more about a once-in-a-lifetime business move. Yet fans remain split, and their anger is not imaginary. Many feel this is the final step in turning elite boxing into a circus, the biggest mismatch yet between a proven heavyweight force and a social media star still learning the depth of the game. They worry that while Joshua is busy chasing huge crossover events, a true legacy fight with Tyson Fury fades further into myth. Some believe that if Joshua commits to Jake Paul, the heavyweight showdown the world once begged for is finally gone for good. They see this not just as a funny idea on paper, but as a sign that the sport has fully surrendered to clicks, streams, and viral buzz. Simon Jordan, ever the sharp observer, connects this directly to the modern audience. He recognizes that the digital generation consumes sport differently. They want spectacle, storylines, personalities, and shareable moments as much as they want technical brilliance. In that environment, a fight between Joshua and Paul may actually make more money than a clash with Fury, as shocking as that sounds. The crossover appeal, the Netflix platform, the engagement on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, all of it feeds into a financial machine that traditional matchups sometimes cannot match. It is not necessarily that the old guard has become irrelevant. It is that the new era has rewritten the rules of what sells. At the same time, analysts point out that this would be the first time Jake Paul truly steps into the fire against a current, high-level heavyweight rather than a faded legend or crossover opponent. Whatever people think of him, there is no denying that he trains hard, studies the sport, and has improved since his early days. He has gone rounds with real fighters, increased his conditioning, and shown that he has genuine punching power. But there is a vast difference between hurting retired names and standing across from an active monster who weighs 50 or 60 pounds more and knows what it means to knock out men who are built for this. If this fight happens, it will be the most brutal test of Paul's career, both physically and psychologically. Even so, there are still those within the sport like Shane McGuigan who remain unconvinced that the fight will ever actually reach the ring. They see the talk, the rumors, the interviews, and the headlines, but they also know how many deals in boxing collapse before the ring walks. Contract issues, broadcast conflicts, sanctioning concerns, and last-minute decisions can tear a fight apart even when it looks inevitable. McGuigan and others argue that until both men are standing under the lights with gloves on, nothing is guaranteed. To them, the idea still feels closer to satire than sport. Yet through all the criticism, something else has quietly shifted. The way people talk about Jake Paul now is not quite the same as when he first appeared. There is still mockery, still resentment, still doubt, but there is also an acknowledgement that he has earned a measure of respect through effort. Trainers, journalists, and fighters who once dismissed him outright now admit that he works, that he commits, that he has turned what began as a stunt into a career with real training, real risk, and real consequences. That does not put him anywhere near Joshua's level. But it does mean that if he chooses to stand across from a heavyweight destroyer, he is doing it as someone who at least understands the weight of what he is signing up for. At the end of the day, this entire story is a collision of eras, values, and motivations. Old-school warriors who lived for belts and legacy, new-age disruptors who live for numbers and reach, promoters caught between credibility and cash, and fans trying to decide whether to watch in excitement or in protest. If Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul truly happens, it will not just be a fight. It will be a moment that reveals exactly where boxing stands in the modern world. So what about you? Do you see this as smart business for Joshua or a step too far away from real competition? Has Jake Paul earned the right to share a ring with a former unified heavyweight champion, or is this the clearest example yet of money overpowering merit? And if the fight actually gets made, how do you see it ending under those bright lights? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this deep dive breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next big story shaking up the world of boxing. Your support keeps these conversations alive, and there is much more drama still to come.